Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ESL Pro League Season 7 of the APAC region. And I'm joined once again by Jordan Mays.
Well, you say once again, it's actually been a little bit of a while since we've cast together, and typically it's you that's joining me, so things have really sort of changed up a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. We're here, and we're having a good time, and I'm very excited to see how this SEA qualifiers do go.
Yeah, after all, we are on the second day at the moment, and it's coming to the pointy end. You know, there's only 2 positions available for the SEA region, not the 3 like there was for the ANZ as well as the Chinese region. So doubly as important that these teams actually take down these matches today. Because, I mean, in the other regions, today's, not tonight's match, would be that qualifying match. But it isn't. They have to win one more to actually qualify for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it does make things a little bit more difficult. But in saying that, you know, some of the stronger teams in the Asia region have already qualified through the China qualifiers. Obviously, Tyloo, we've seen them qualify. But MVP, they're a team that have also gone through, and Flash Gaming. So you've got those 3 big names out of the way, and you're kind of looking at teams like now like B.O.O.T and Recca and those sorts of teams that are potentially trying to qualify through this one. So I sort of feel like this qualifier is maybe a little bit weaker in terms of teams, and that maybe makes it a little bit easier for the teams towards the top end to actually continue their qualification process.
I have to say, I mean, Tyloo won't be joining us as we take a quick look at the qualifying teams. Overall, it's the 3 from China, obviously MVP, PK, Mongols, and Flash Gaming. And then the 2 ANZ teams, Order as well as Greyhound. 1 more ANZ team to come out. I think that's going to be in the next couple of evenings, so keep tuned to that. But tonight, we will be able to find our first SEA qualifier. And it's down to these 4 teams at the moment. There's only going to be 1 and 4 very strong teams facing off right now in the upper bracket semi-finals. Yeah,
it gets very confusing with all the Asian CSI, so I do apologize. It was not Tyloo that did qualify through. That was for IEM Sydney that they've qualified to. But MVP, PK, and Flash Gaming, 2 very, very strong teams, and the Mongols also going through. I thought Mongols was kind of maybe a little bit of a surprise there, actually. Definitely didn't expect that to be so sort of straightforward for them, to be honest, actually. But they've made their way through, so we'll see how they do go at the finals, and also, you know, waiting for that 3rd ANZ team, which I suspect probably is going to be Tainted Minds, but I mean, Chiefs is sort of an outside shot into that one as well. Overall, I'm really looking forward to this because, you know, I think actually this ESL Pro League finals, when we're actually at the LAN, is going to be probably, I think, the best domestic LAN that we've actually ever had in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we take a quick look at the schedule today, you can argue, you know, during Zen League times, we were trying to get the best teams, but there always just seemed to be some kind of mishap. Maybe Australia was a little bit weaker in the first season, second season, couldn't get that many teams down. But now, very, very strong teams from every single region, not just the Chinese region, but the SEA region. And up first, we've got B.O.O.T-dream up against Recca. To see who's going to be our first team making it into that finals that we're going to see later on tonight. I think the other match is Beyond Esports versus Signature. Now, Beyond Esports, obviously one of our qualifiers from the open qualifier. I remember seeing them triumph against their opposition to make their way into the closed qualifiers. And it's good to see them now face off. Another chance against Signature to prove who's #1 in Thailand. Yeah,
I'm definitely backing Signature to come away with a victory there. I do think they're a little bit stronger, but we'll have to see how that one does play out. Now, the winner of that one will be playing against the winner of this match that we're looking at now, and then that subsequent match is what we're going to, I guess, have a look at later on today. That was the TBDs on the screen there, and we'll figure out who ends up actually coming to the APAC finals from the match later on today. From my perspective, I think we're probably going to be seeing B.O.O.T and Signature coming through into the next matchup. And from there, I certainly think that B.O.O.T probably is going to be the strongest team in this upper bracket sort of side of things. However, in saying that, I haven't actually been able to watch this new Recca lineup play since Excurrent has departed. Obviously, Bentet disappeared quite a long time ago, but those 2 guys departing from that Recca roster, I think, is a massive loss for them. And now they're kind of, again, in sort of a bit of a rebuilding phase. They still do have that kind of core 3 coming through from the old Recca, but where the star power is going to come from for those guys is, well, I feel remaining to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a tale to be told. Meanwhile, at the lower bracket, you know, a lot of the other 4 teams fighting on for survival, they still do have a chance at that 2nd slot, but it's going to be a very, very big slog uphill. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there's still potential, though, for anyone to come through, so it's not like you can necessarily count anyone out at this point. But if I had to kind of put money on it, I almost would think like B.O.O.T and probably Recca actually are the 2 that I would think should come through. Again, maybe Signature if they can get the upper hand over Recca. That's potential, but it's really hard to call because, you know, obviously I haven't been able to see all these teams playing so far. This is my first time on this broadcast, and you know, there's been a lot of changes in the Asian region as well in terms of rosters and that kind of thing. So everything's sort of up in the air. But from what I saw from B.O.O.T-dream the other night against Tyloo when they were playing in the IEM qualifiers, I mean, they played well enough. but they didn't quite manage to get it over Tyloo. Now, I do think that Recca's going to be a weaker opponent than Tyloo is, and I think the B.O.O.T Dreamscape have enough, and I even think that they probably should have won that series against Tyloo. They just didn't quite get there in the end.
Was Winter playing in that series?
Yes.
Or, okay,
yeah.
so because I was about to say, you know, with Winter as a new pickup, I think that might be the shot in the arm in what B.O.O.T Dreamscape needed for a very, very long time now, for probably the last... I mean, tracing back 1.5 years, I mean, the first time that most domestic, like, I have to say Oceanic, right? The most that we heard of B.O.O.T Dreamscape, obviously, was at the Asus Rock Masters in 2016. So 2 years ago, where I think we had a couple of Australian teams, Chiefs as well as Avant-Garde at the time, go over. And that's kind of when they got the recognition. They came second to the Mongols team at the time. And it was like a lineup I was looking at, like, this is actually, this is a lineup with great potential. You've got such amazing players in that lineup, arguably the best in SEA, but it's been 1.5 years since. It's like, it's always been a story of potential.
Exactly.
And, you know, we can tie it in with so many other different teams where we say potential is the key. But maybe Winter is that key to unlocking all of that. Maybe this is what they need as a second explosive comeback run into making it into the international limelight again. Yeah,
maybe. And Benkai in particular is one of those players that we did always look like, or look at, particularly from the Oceanic region, as kind of a threat, I suppose. You know, when we saw a couple of Australian teams go over and play against the likes of Benkai, initially he was the one that everyone was talking about. You know, before Bentet sort of came into the scene a little bit, into his own, Benkai was the one that everyone was scared of in Asia, I suppose. And it didn't really end up sort of turning out to the way that maybe they would have wanted. I don't think Benkai necessarily hit that star peak level that he could have and that he was sort of hitting at that time. Maybe everyone sort of caught up to him in a sense as well. But regardless of the case, Benkai, again, is going to still be another player that we want to have a look at and see how he goes. I thought Splashkey was pretty good against Tyloo, particularly on Keish when he was picking up the AWP and he was doing some pretty impressive stuff. So another one to keep an eye on, I think, for me. And I'm interested to see what maps are we going to get for this matchup here, because, I mean, I think both teams are going to be fairly comfortable on Keish. At least the old Recca was. I don't know how this new Recca is going to go, but that was definitely the choice of B.O.O.T Dreamscape. And I think the Keish is something that we're going to be quite likely to see.
Yeah, it's commonly something that you see in the SEA region. But what you'd also like to commonly see is a really nice inventory. And Jordan, you know how important it is rocking up skins. Game Flip, a $10,000 giveaway. Not only that, but you have a market to peruse a lot of cosmetics as well. And Jordan always loves looking good. Loves the makeup.
Yeah, it's all about the fashion and that kind of thing. I'm not wearing makeup right now, though. Thanks, Kev.
Oh. Don't you sometimes wish like we should just always do makeup on these broadcasts, and then you two can be a boss. You know, you just rock up. No.
No, I mean, well, look, the thing is, I would have to do the makeup myself, and I'm not really sure that would be a great idea, to be honest, for my appearance.
Always a great learning experience if you think about it.
Well, maybe, but it's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope indeed, and before you tumble down it, let's bring it back. I mean, we're talking a lot about B.O.O.T Dreamscape, obviously, but now a little bit about Recca as well. I mean, we've obviously seen a lot more of Recca probably than a B.O.O.T Dreamscape in terms of them playing in the Zen League, as well as just how their roster really has been gutted by the departures. I mean, when we ultimately think about it, this is a very good roster, obviously with Hoops and Eeyore joining into it. It's like they have big shoes to kind of fill. We know how good Xcure and Bentet are. Like especially with Xcure getting that effective, like the unofficial MVP award, like in a massive tournament. So it is big firepower and talent to lose. But that's also an opportunity for the next kind of generation to kind of show through.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I'm not really going to comment too much on Hoops and Eeyore until I do actually get to see them play, but I think particularly for the old core, we're going to look to see Rosu stepping up here for Recca. I mean, for me, Sis and Frost Misty sort of did tend to play a little bit more of a supportive style than the likes of Rosu, Xcure, or Bentet. And obviously, now with the departure of Bentet and Xcure, that leaves a bit more room, I suppose, open for Rosu here to try and make something for himself, I suppose, and we'll see if he can actually manage to do that. Now, in the past, he has actually had some really good performances, and you know, when someone like Xcure or Bentet wasn't necessarily having a great day, he was there to pick up the slack. But my question is, how is he going to be able to sort of manage that now that he's, in my mind at least, one of the key players really for Recca? If he has a bad day, maybe Recca has a bad day, and maybe that's going to be a little bit too much pressure, or perhaps he just thrives under that pressure.
Yeah, and this is also where the new talent can come in and thrive under the pressure as well. I mean, looking at B.O.O.T Dreamscape's lineup, obviously Winter, their new pickup. I mean, he's been playing around for quite a while as well. Have to still see how he completely solidifies in this roster, obviously. The core four that's been there for I don't know how many months in a row now. I mean, they're obviously losing...
almost, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously losing Moxie is a big kind of step down in terms of the firepower of their roster. But maybe Winter, once again, he can go above and beyond.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing I find about this B.O.O.T Dreamscape roster is that this is not necessarily like a massive shake-up or anything in my mind. You know, we, like you said, have seen Winter playing with this roster in the past, and it almost felt like, to me, B.O.O.T Dreamscape kind of had sort of a rotating 6 or 7 man roster at some time, because on any given day you would see a different combination of players, and it wasn't always Moxie in that roster at every point in time. And so Winter has actually played with these guys quite a lot before actually now being put into that core roster. So I think that it's not going to be too difficult for this B.O.O.T Dreamscape sort of roster to gel together, as essentially they probably should have already done that, to be fair. And so realistically, when we talk about things like honeymoon periods and like time for the teams to gel, I don't necessarily know if that really applies to B.O.O.T Dreamscape, because it's like they've been playing together for, you know, 6 months at least.
I think the most important thing is that they get some reinvigoration in terms of like they're playing.
Shake up.
Yeah, shake up, because I've followed Impression since 2016 actually. So it's like you see periodically like these guys are really excited. They get this massive international opportunity. They take the most of it, but 3 or 4 months down the line, it's like something bad happens, you know, and then they're slowly losing motivation, because it's not easy. I mean, it's for them. They've had. I mean, the SEA region has a lot of hurdles to go through. You don't have many qualifying spots. The chances that you do get, maybe it's also in with the Chinese region, and we know how strong the Chinese region is. Maybe it's also, you know, you have to compete against Australia as well, or the Oceanic region. So already those limited opportunities already dwindling away, and these guys, they're trying their best. They're losing motivation. Maybe this is another, like, the kick that they needed, you know? New tournament that 2 SEA teams can qualify forward. They can definitely put their best foot forward. New lineup. Essentially with a new person, it's like you can actually feel like a breath of new air. Like a lot of things can change. A lot of people start talking about what they can be doing to improve instead of just focusing on the negatives. So maybe that's just what they need. Yeah,
it's definitely an interesting sort of history, I think, for B.O.O.T Dreamscape when you look at this roster as they've progressed, you know, in the last couple of years, let's say. It's always been sort of like a bit of a wave. They've had their ups and then they've had their downs. They've had their ups, but they've never really. It hasn't been like a natural progression up. It's been sort of up, down, up again, down again, up again, down again. So
and it's not like
it's hard.
Yeah, and it's not like because it's like roster changes. We look at someone like Recca who have also had that kind of progression. They're going up, they're going down, but you could say maybe it's because of roster changes. You know, you're taking away your most influential player. You're adding a new player in who maybe needs a little bit more time to kind of gel, to gain the experience, to understand what it really means to be playing at a top level of Counter-Strike, and then they'll come into their own. And as soon as that happens, oh, there goes Execute.
Yeah, well, actually, I think they added a player and then he departed, and now they've got 2 new players again, obviously with the departure of Execute. So it's been a bit of a rotating door in that record camp even since Bentet did leave. And actually, I mean, I feel like the trajectory of these 2 teams is a little bit different in that, you know, like I said, B.O.O.T's been up and down, up and down. I mean, I felt like Recca was up, and then they came back down, but then they sort of went back up again, even higher. Or maybe not necessarily higher, but they, you know, it hasn't been up and down so much. It's just been more up, and then someone leaves and it goes down, and then it's back up, and then someone leaves and it's back down again.
But arguably, they haven't hit their peaks. Like that peak was when they came over to Australia during the Zen League Season 1, and they demolished not only MVP PK at the time. Obviously, they were still growing at the time. A lot of things they have learned since then, but they also took down the other Australian teams. Like, yeah, exactly. You know, the strongest that we had in Oceania at the time, and they just patched them with ease.
During that time, I do think the Aussie scene was kind of going through a bit of a transitionary phase. Absolutely, I don't think that was the strongest part of our history, I suppose. And now I definitely do think that, you know, if we would have seen like a Greyhound or something like that up against that former Recca roster, it could have definitely been a very exciting matchup. But enough about that. That's all in the past, and that's all conjecture. Now we're heading into map number 1, and guess what it is, Kevin? Like I said, we are going to be seeing Keish here. I'm very excited because I think this bodes really well for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, and for me, in this matchup, I'd be looking for a 2-0 for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, actually. With all of those roster changes that we've seen out from Recca, this is definitely doable for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, and the fact that they've got themselves on one of their better maps to start things off, I think really bodes well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you were saying earlier, is that this Recca, that's an impression to make. Just instantly getting the first pistol kill. But I was also saying Recca, no slashes on Keish themselves as well. So, I mean, obviously with both of these teams in the SEA region, they would have very similar map pools. So we're going to most likely see a very tight contest. I'm looking forward to it, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one as well. And also looking forward to kind of getting a bit of insight as to how this new Recca roster is going to go. Are they going to be a big threat in the Asia scene as they have been in the past? This does open up with 1, but Benkai trading back, and Recca making their way into the A bomb side here seems to have worked out quite nicely for them. They get that smoke down fairly early on. They get the cross, and they get the bomb down. And now B.O.O.T Dreamscape tasked with a retake, 3 versus 3.
Yeah, there goes the smoke in the A main. That's generally the standard smoke that CTs have been throwing to try to regain control, but there is one in forklift. There's also a good crossfire at quad, but instantly 2 kills for B.O.O.T Dreamscape with the pistols. Now it's all down to Frost Misty. Too many targets. Winter, that's 2.
Well, I think that's some good signs early on for B.O.O.T Dreamscape. They looked really, really sharp there. I mean, just the pace at which they make that retake work, the confidence which they go into that side and hit those shots. I mean, it didn't really feel like they had any concerns there at all up against Recca. And so, yeah, Recca get the bomb down, which is great news for them in that they can buy next round. But B.O.O.T Dreamscape looking sharp, in my opinion.
I mean, it's a good start, but there's still a lot more rounds. And Recca, I mean, not the best of opportunities, really, to kind of show. You really lose a number very early on. You have to try to take that A main control. And that SMG just dealing it at mid. Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy's actually really, really strong in that mid area. We saw that again also against Tyloo. He started off so strong, and then once Splash, he kind of got the AWP in his hands. That's when things really became a problem for Tyloo. But we'll have to wait a little bit for that one. As for the moment, Recca just going to be trying to get around this anti-eco, or this eco of their own. And, I mean, they're doing okay, actually. They've taken a couple of guns out of the hands of B.O.O.T. But at the end of the day, it's going to be just the one. No, both the M4s do get secured. So I think overall that's pretty good for B.O.O.T Dreamscape.
That's actually...
Can't really be concerned.
I was about to say, that's actually really good for Recca, and arguably on B.O.O.T Dreamscape's side, kills that you didn't really want to necessarily give over, because, yeah, you retrieve both of the rifles, but now that actually forces a buy up against... Well, the rifles were locked against Glocks. It wasn't... Yeah, sure, there were a few dinks and whatnot, but they were Glocks.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, but at the end of the day, it's not a massive hole in the B.O.O.T Dreamscape economy. At least they can buy through here. I guess it does come down to the result of this round. If B.O.O.T Dreamscape win this, then, you know, who cares really at that point. But if they lose this one, that's where it might start to affect them. You know, maybe they can't get a buy through next round as a result of those 2 rebuys. And you can see they're all pretty low, with the exception of Tommy, who got a couple of kills with the UMP in the last round. So that definitely could be problematic here for B.O.O.T Dreamscape. And Frost Misty started off quite nicely there onto Impression. So this is where B.O.O.T need to, you know, really solidly sort of step back and slow things down a little bit, make sure that they can take control of this round and not throw away this sort of nice start to the match that they've gotten. Yeah,
and you can see Frost Misty, he's aware of what's going on at the moment. He is really scared that there's going to be someone else here. So 1-for-1 trade so far. Winston knows there's one more pressuring him. Now, Frost Misty obviously on the other side. The timing is great for Winter, but not the aim, unfortunately. And now it's still just a little bit of a dance between the 2 players at Squeaky, but Frost Misty is going to get the better of that, and there's just no numbers left. And this is why I say it's a bit problematic when you lose those 2 M4s, because you can see the money on B.O.O.T Dreamscape. Like, if you had those 2 M4s still,
yeah, if they would have had a clean anti-eco.
Yeah, if you had the clean anti-eco, maybe losing a single gun, you could kind of justify forcing into this. But this is a really mixed bag buy. We've got Tommy with an M4 and then pistols on the other players. And what's Benkai going to be getting? That's just going to be a deagle.
Well, to be honest, I'm not surprised. This is what we saw B.O.O.T Dreamscape doing against Tyloo as well. They were quite keen to actually just go for those forces, and they're not really sure who's actually going to take away that M4 at this point. But inevitably, it lands in Tommy's hands, and see how he's going to use that one. I would have assumed that he was actually going to hold mid with it, but he's actually on the A-bomb site now. So B.O.O.T Dreamscape have kind of shifted up their defensive positions a little bit, rotated around the map, and I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be a big deal for Recca, but it's just interesting to note. And for now, Recca playing slowly. They're not really too sure what's going on just yet for B.O.O.T Dreamscape. They don't know if there's going to be a force or an eco or anything like that. So they're just not taking any chances here. And they're going to work their way slowly into mid. I think they do need to be careful, though. Benkai with that deagle is pretty sharp.
Yeah, but so far, Recca doing just a small work, just dropping the Molotovs in positions where you'd suspect maybe a cheeky counter-terrorist to be with the CZ. But now it looks like it's a crisscross at the mid position, and Benkai trying to play around. It's not going to work. Good counter-incendiary grenade to force Eeyore out of that vent position.
Yeah, but where's the M4 still up on the A-bomb site? And that's what we need to see having an impact here for B.O.O.T. And so far, Tommy really hasn't had an opportunity to get into this round. B.O.O.T Dreamscape have got themselves a little bit of a hold on this A-bomb site with that M4. That's their real hope, although Tommy's starting to rotate off, it looked like almost, and decides better of it as the smoke does come out onto the site here from Recca. But Tommy's got a big job to do, and we'll see if he can make it happen.
Absolutely. Now come the Molotovs and the flashes. 1-3 Squeaky. Frost Misty's going to be tagged at once. Now they know an A4's on the site and pressure going to go down. There's a dink, but it's not great because it means that he still does go down to the AK-47. Now the pistol's doing work. Smoke's going to block their progression just a little bit longer. Splashski trying to land the deagle.
Look how low they are.
They're all low, but Winter, he's got body armor. Maybe that's just what he needs. He's also got a kit as well. Not aware of where the players are, though. He's found one, but he's down to 13, and he should be knocked out by the same main player if he decides to go any further. So he's just going to back out right now and just do as much damage as possible.
Well, now with that kill, perhaps he's decided that he can actually make this one work. He's going to go and have a look and see if he can get the defuse. If he sits on this, maybe he can just get it in time. Rosyu, not even on the ball at all. Oh, my goodness me. Winters managed to clutch it out, and he might even get the kill. No, not quite, but still. Grasping around from the jaws of defeat, essentially. And I really think that was all just on Rosyu not... I don't know, did he not hear that the bomb was being defused or something? Maybe he expected a repeat or...
Okay, so in that particular point, it's like, it looks a little bit foolish, but you're expecting the CTs to not have a kit. Like, who buys a kit in a force buy round like that?
True.
When was the last time we saw that? Windsor had the kit the entire time. You're expecting a 10-second stick. So he's like, okay, now he's sticking it, I can push in, and obviously the time's ticked away. Doesn't realize that Windsor has a kit. So that makes, you know, it makes him look, Rosyu look a little bit foolish, but in reality, it's not. Now a push just coming out straight to mid. They spot the crisscross of smokes, they get one kill and they fall back. So B.O.O.T Dreamscape so far, on the back of Windsor's clutch, can be doing no wrong, really.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, Recca, I've got the buy through into this round again, but they've already started off a little bit poorly. There's another kill. Splashkey now has the AWP in his hands, and that's something that I mentioned earlier on as being quite a scary prospect here for Recca. Benkai perhaps a little bit overeager there, needs to wait maybe a bit longer for the rest of his team to come in, but he's trying to make something happen. It's not necessarily the end of the world, given that they do still have a player advantage here, B.O.O.T, but it's going to make the retake perhaps a little bit more difficult.
That's a good Molotov use. There's still... Oh, I just don't like the positioning of Recca at the moment. They're trying to shift their players into better positions, but the more time they take to do so, it means they're lacking the ability to crossfire and assist. Trying to play around the smoke. There's one also coming out of highway, but it's not a highway plant, so I don't know why Frost Misty wanted to pressure that position. He's very, very lucky to escape with his life, but coming underneath this boost... I don't think he'll go down. Tommy knows where he is, but he has to land a heck of a shot, and he won't be able to do so.
Yeah, close. And that was worth it for Tommy, I think, to chase that one down. All he had was the MP9, so he loses it, but really at this point, who really cares? He's going to go and invest in probably something else again this round. Frost Misty does have the AK save through, so maybe Recca can force by behind it.
But my problem with that one is that they were just Recca in positions where they couldn't trade each other out. Now, obviously, B.O.O.T Dreamscape have the superior utility as well as economy, right? But just not trading each other out in a 3 and 4. Frost Misty's trying to make a hero play coming out of highway. It's not going to work in these particular scenarios because B.O.O.T Dreamscape, they're already so close to the bomb site. They're going to be going in to make sure they're not risking anything. So, I mean, just early signs of trouble, I guess, for both sides. Both sides, maybe we're being a little bit overcritical, but...
Oh, well, perhaps. But at the end of the day, we'll just keep an eye on how things are going. For now, Recca have got a bit of a sort of mixed bag. And so this makes it work there with the M4. Sorry, with the M4. Might as well be an M4, really. With the CZ. At the end of the day, though, B.O.O.T Dreamscape look like they're going to clean things up fairly comfortably in this round. That's a great grenade, actually. Rosyu takes a big chunk of damage. And Benkai's doing a good job just keeping everyone busy in mid. Nice shot out onto Rosyu. And for now, Recca are going to be dropping another round, but up to 5 and 1 already. It's been a pretty quick progression, actually, for B.O.O.T. And you know, despite that one round where Recca kind of looked good in the first gun round, it's been all B.O.O.T Dreamscape. And now we're probably going to start to see them take control of this map when they've got that AWP on Splashkey and they're starting to get that feeling going. I think that this is really looking a little bit scary for Recca.
And it's important for Recca at the moment to realize that B.O.O.T, in the last couple of rounds, the rounds that they have won on the CT side, obviously, has when they've been getting aggressive and getting this map control early on. And what Recca needs to do just for now is just play it a little bit slower. So get your default spread out like what Frost Misty was doing at Squeaky. Don't allow B.O.O.T Dreamscape to get in really nice little corners where they can try to exploit for information as well as gain, and then punish them for their over-aggression from there.
Double AWP out now for B.O.O.T Dreamscape as well, and I don't really mind that, actually. I think Impression's pretty solid on the AWP when he can just lock down an angle, which is what he does tend to do up on the A site. We've got Splashkey over on B, and this is a fairly stock standard sort of a setup for B.O.O.T on the CT side. They do this a lot, and Recca should inevitably be aware of it, but maybe not this round. You know, maybe they're not expecting a double AWP to come out in round number 6, particularly given the strength that B.O.O.T has shown us so far throughout this half. So I don't know if they're necessarily going to be aware of it, but they better hope that they are going to be.
Yeah, and B.O.O.T Dreamscape, they're just going to be coming straight out close to the same main smoke right now. Benkai, I think he's trying to push straight in. This is really messy from both sides. Tommy's going to find one, but he's going to be immediately traded out. Benkai, though, still in the smoke. He can still strike, but Impression gets one with the AWP. Is going to be traded out now. Benkai's time to shine. He's just going to wait here at Forklift for now, and he's going to find one, but he can't find the second. Good trade from Frost Misty, 2-on-2.
Yeah, but look at this. They might just strafe into Splashkey, and I don't know if he's going to necessarily miss this shot. However, he does. Gets a second opportunity and goes for it, spraying away with the P250, but not a lot that he can do at that range against Rozyu, who just, you know, apparently surprises him. Didn't really know where the final tee was, and so Recca do come away with the round, and I mean, it was very, very messy there from both teams, like you said. I think it really could have gone either way. Like, for example, Tommy goes down in the smoke. If he maybe would have survived there, things could have definitely been different. Benkai almost looked like he was going to get a two-man spray down. Any of those little moments, if they would have gone the way of B.O.O.T, that's going to be a round for them instead of just for Recca. So it wasn't a necessarily hugely solid round, I didn't think, there from Recca. We need to see a little bit more from them. But a round is a round, nonetheless. So that's definitely, you know, a good start, unless they lose this round. And Benkai started off nicely for B.O.O.T.
Yeah, you were saying that his Deagle was lethal, and just, oh my goodness, what is that? He's just strafing at the edge of Z, just catches one at the edge.
That's a good molly.
Well, this is forcing so much utility. Now Tommy, they're trying to make this play out in towards mid. Impression, he spots out Eeyore, but both CTs go down, trying to retake that highway position instead. So that's good coming out from Eeyore. Also the initiative to just charge fast up onto the A-bomb site. It's going to work out really well because it means that the Ts can come to the A-bomb site instead.
Benkai just holding a truck isn't going to have too much luck there, I don't think. And Splashkey actually goes down to the molly. I was going to say, should be smoked off Benkai, and indeed he is. That's probably going to shut the round down here for B.O.O.T. However, Winter is coming around from the back, so maybe, just maybe, he can find something. Is anyone watching this line?
I think Eeyore's most likely watching it.
Well, it doesn't matter. So it's back to a 2 versus 3, and at this point, I think the real objective for B.O.O.T is just to do damage, and they haven't really been able to do too much. 3 guns through, that's definitely a lot more solid from Recca. It was up against just a sort of a forced buyout from B.O.O.T Dreamscape, so let's not get too far down that rabbit hole. But
I mean, still good stuff from Rozyu, still good stuff from Recca. I mean, going back to 2 rounds before, I know we don't like going too much into the past, but that buy round, I think we also, like, obviously B.O.O.T Dreamscape had opportunities to make multi-frags with both Tommy and Benkai, but Recca did very, very well to immediately trade out the threats, and that's a really important thing where sometimes it just goes like, oh, he's missed the opportunity, but it's actually in that particular point, Frost Misty gets the critical trade.
Look at this timing out from Winter again. He just seems to have this little knack for coming out of the vent at the right time when someone's not looking. The buy through for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, it started off pretty nicely this gun round. Rozyu does have the AWP in his hands here for Recca, but hasn't really had too much of an impact with it just yet. And it's interesting to see him with the AWP. Obviously, now that Excure's departed, he's, I guess, been the one that's stepped up and decided to take that role. I always thought he had a pretty decent rifle, though, so we'll see how he goes with the AWP here.
Yep, so once again, the crisscross of smokes and the flashbangs to get control of this mid position. Surely they should check where Winter is right now, but Eeyore's just caught out by the spray. Rozyu, he's trying to get away into that useless position. Frost Misty eventually does come by and trade him out, though. So in reality, I think this is actually really good for Recca because they can group up and hit this B-bomb site if Hoops is able to go explosive.
The rotation's going to come in, though, from B.O.O.T Dreamscape, and Benkai will start to back up his teammate Splashkey on the B-bomb site there from Heaven. However, he's decided to fall back off, so it doesn't seem like B.O.O.T Dreamscape necessarily know exactly where Recca is, and I want to say Winter did a pretty good job in mid there to just get a huge amount of value out of his life. He gets 2 kills plus all of that damage onto Rozyu, so great work from him. That makes the job a little bit easier for B.O.O.T. And again, Benkai has come back over to the B-bomb site. So this is going to be a tough one for Recca as they try to make their way in. Splashkey opening up with a good kill, and that really slows things down for Recca, which is probably the exact opposite of what we would have wanted from them. Like you said, they needed to explode in onto that bomb site if they were going to make something happen. They needed to get both of those CTs straight off the bat without loss, or maybe with just 1 loss. And, well, we can see where this is going. Frost Misty might even die after the timer. Nope, not quite. Impression does get him with 2 seconds left on the clock, but another round for B.O.O.T and another reset there for Recca.
Their money, not the greatest as well. I mean, Rozyu's got cash, so does Hoops, and no one else. Probably just a single eco here. You want to be buying up as much as you can, obviously, on that T side. But that was a really solid round once again coming out from Windsor, just locking down that mid position. I was a little bit scared, obviously, because B.O.O.T Dreamscape didn't have any more forward information beyond that, because they didn't need to. They played the 4-on-3 afterwards actually perfectly, so they just made sure, all right, no one else is coming out through mid, and I'm just going to go and make sure the B side's safe. And I really love that flashbang coming out from Splashkey as well. Now it looks like it's just going to be an A side hit.
Yeah, but they don't really have anything to get themselves in there, so this smoke has kind of slowed things down quite heavily for Recca. But you know, what you'd really love to see here is like a little bit of a flashbang or something through that smoke. Maybe Recca can get out as a result of that. But like, how are you going to cross when Impression's holding from truck and you don't have a smoke, you don't have a flash, all you have is pistols? Like, you can't even challenge this AWP at all. Impression is going to have the freest farm of his life and just stat padding at this point.
Yeah, this is like the dream. It's like, oh, so on an eco, they're just dry individually peeking, and then Tommy takes the final kill.
Yep.
Impression's going to be happy with that.
It was pretty obvious how that was going to go. Impression got 4 kills.
I mean, if they exploded out and were able to get the bomb plant down, that was probably what they were aiming to do. But like, if you have to really hope that you can hit an amazing shot from that position, because otherwise an AWP versus pistol, unless your name is Scream, I don't see you one-tapping the guy or Scream or automatic. That's the only 2 people I can see deagling from that distance.
Yeah, like I said, you really would have liked to have seen a smoke there for Recca. That it would have at least doubled, almost tripled their chances of getting a bomb down there. Realistically, you're almost giving yourself no chance if you're just walking out main with only pistols. But regardless, it's much of a much. It was just an eco for Recca, so no need to dwell on it too long. What we do need to think about now is that B.O.O.T-dream are up 7-3. We're 10 rounds into the half, and you know there's only 5 left. So Recca are in a pretty precarious position right now. It is still salvageable, but this is the point where you start to get a little bit worried about them on map 1.
No, that's all right. This is actually really good for them at the moment for this particular round until Impression is able to get one and get out. Okay, I thought they were able to sneak up so close onto him, and he's still able to get out here, which is amazing. I mean, Tommy does go down, so it's still the ghost signal for them right now, and Eeyore's got the height advantage. He's got the height advantage, but he's not looking the right way. He gets one at highway, so they still explode out. That's what they needed. And Frost Misty, yep, that's the correct button to pick up the AWP.
Not the mouse click. I'm not so sure about that there, really, for B.O.O.T-dream. We saw 2 people kind of get stuck at forklift, and yeah, while Impression got out, Tommy did kind of get stuck there. So a little unfortunate for them that it sort of ended up that way, but what on earth is that?
Yeah, pre-fire and a half coming out from Winter. And now 2 players, one in Squeaky, one in A main, and I think they know that he's in A main at the moment. You can see Splashkey wandering around, and Splashkey hits a shot.
Well,
a heck of a shot as well.
It's a good shot from Splashkey, but even better from Winter, I thought, you know, to open that retake up, really. It was 2 versus 3. He hits a magnificent shot through the smoke and then gets the second player in Squeaky as well. All Splashy has to do there is just watch the smoke and let Winter defuse, but really Winter is...
Not easy, mind you, to actually watch with an AWP. The confidence to hold there.
I'm definitely not saying that it was, but I think Winter really opened that round up there for B.O.O.T-dream, and he's having a phenomenal performance actually since we saw him come into B.O.O.T-dream. So I think that's been a really good change up for them, and you know, I mean, obviously it's still early days. I've only actually watched a couple of matches from Boot, but he's definitely been impressing me so far. And that's really put the back foot again onto Recca. However, they make their way quickly out onto the A-bomb site. Not so sure it's going to work out, though, too well. They only have the CZs. They've got a little bit of head armor to play with, so maybe if they can find a gun here, they can make something happen. And Benkai does go down in main, but it's going to take a long time to retrieve that gun. And in the meanwhile, we'll see B.O.O.T-dream start to commit to this retake.
Yep, but double AWP means that some of the pistols have to come out, and Ross, you still holding close. Is Winter going to check this? He won't check it in time, but he's got teammates there. Just going to smoke and cover up Sis. Trying his best with the retrieved A4, but not enough. And now 9-3. Recca, 3 more rounds to try to make a dent on the CT side because it can balloon out of control right now.
Yeah, like these rounds are actually sort of fairly close actually for Recca, but they're just not able to really have enough to get the better of Boot. And you know, that's keeping the Boot economy kind of in check in a way, but the problem is that Recca aren't actually able to really get that next round or the next couple of rounds they need to finally break the Boot economy and give themselves a really good shot at actually coming back into this half, you know. So they're going to need at least like another round or 2 in a row here before they do finally break Boot. And the way that it's looking, it doesn't really seem like it's going to happen. And perhaps even if it does happen, it's too little too late at this point. Impression, that's the missed shot that needed to be hit, but Rosu does go down to Tommy, so things are sort of starting to stabilize a little bit here. And oh my goodness, he hits the nose scope onto Eeyore. Benkai also coming in from Truck will be able to get one onto Sis. And it's just Frost Misty left alive. It was a bit of a chaotic sort of fight there, but in the end, Impression makes it happen.
Yeah, and you have to really wonder at this stage, right, if they had one more smoke grenade Recca, that was actually a really good read. They go, all right, there's a double up setup, so most likely it's going to be 1B, 1A. They're playing very heavy to mid, so Recca knows what's going on. They make the correct adaptation, but they just can't get the entries out fast enough in time. And the defenders on the A-bomb site and B.O.O.T-dream do a huge job. Impression actually getting that second kill, I think may have meant a little bit of a difference, because you can see the last, if he doesn't get that kill, that's where the T can pick up the bomb and get onto the bomb site. Safe plant. But they're still cut across a barrier. They can't get through highway. And as a result, it means that B.O.O.T Dreamscape, they're on double digits.
Yeah, 10-3. It's been a fantastic first half from them so far. And really, at this point, they're just looking to secure it out. You know, maybe get 11, get 12 here. I think 10 is enough. I will say that. But anything more past this for B.O.O.T is going to be a massive bonus and make life really, really easy heading into the second half. And so far, Recca just, they haven't found a formula to be able to break B.O.O.T Dreamscape. I mean, they've tried that A-bomb site quite a few times in a row. The B site has been fairly unexplored. Even mid has been fairly unexplored in the last, few rounds here from Recca. So maybe that's something that they want to go and have a look at here. And it certainly seems like it as mid now starts to, get a little bit of pressure into it. But as of yet, no control really from Recca. Just some grenades.
Yeah, and you can see that B.O.O.T Dreamscape, they're sick of Recca just sitting around. They go, all right, the best way that we can actually take the rest of these games is that we're getting our own map control. So once again, the crisscross on that mid position. Benkai still looking to take down Sis at this boost position. I don't know if Sis actually has spotted him out. Well, gunfire is going to be exchanged, and Recca are eyeing towards the Vents position. After that heavy B site aggression, but there's still Winter inside Sunroom right now, having a bit of a dance with Frost Misty. He's going to take the deal. He's going to find two, as a matter of fact. Wow. And yeah, Eeyore gets the trade, but Splashkey is still here on the bomb site. There's still one in Vent.
Oh, that timing there from Splashkey, a little unfortunate. A good flashbang coming in, though, from Benkai. Does give him a second opportunity, and that's a really good round, actually, out from B.O.O.T Dreamscape. A good rotation, very fast over to the B bomb site, and Winter aggressively pushed in Sunroom, causing problems. I mean, even Benkai in mid was causing problems. He got a bink on a guy that was trying to go into Vent. So overall, it just seemed to really be working very nicely for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, and the cohesion is definitely there, you can see. Up to 11-3 now, and 1 round left in the half. Recca at least are going to be able to get a buy through. It's a little bit lacking in terms of utility, but, I mean, AKs, they can still get the job done. I mean, Recca, what do you do from this point? Like, they've tried pretty much everything. They've tried mid, they've tried B, they've tried A.
And man, like...
They've tried fast, they've tried slow, they've tried executes.
And imagine you're trying to hold this B. I was about to say, imagine trying to hold B, and then you just get deleted off the round because B.O.O.T Dreamscape decided to push. I mean, the HUD doesn't show it just yet, but it is Hoops that has gone down very early on. I think he's just disconnected. So probably just resetting the game and whatnot.
That's why we've got two Eeyores right now for Recca. So it is 4 versus 5.
But that's just the confidence. It's like they're dry sprinting into B.
I think all of Recca might have disconnected, if I'm honest, Kevin.
Okay, that's not good because it depends on when that ruling is made.
Yeah, I guess the question is whether they DC'd before the first kill occurred, or it looks like they're back, so they're moving around a little bit. And I guess they're going to play the round out, which is fair enough as far as I'm concerned. I do think that the player was killed before the disconnection occurred, so it is a legitimate round. And well, I mean, that's going to be a great opportunity here for B.O.O.T to go up to 12-3, but I guess we will definitely wait on the ruling and see if it is actually going to be legitimate. But as far as what I can see right now, it does seem like everything's going ahead as planned, and Tommy up here on the catwalk is probably going to have a pretty good time. He just needs to check the angle that Sis is crossing.
Oh, they've missed each other, and Sis should be able to get this kill on Impression. There it is. Impression going to be a little bit surprised that he's there, but it's going to be Tommy getting the final kill, so... I think no harm, no foul, though, in terms of just how the thing was going. It wasn't as if Recca were making a good comeback and they could have taken one round. It still would have been 11-4 if they took it. Yeah. Now 12-3, and I don't know what else you can say. That was a very comprehensive demolition. Yeah,
I will just confirm that definitely was a legitimate round. There was damage done before the disconnection occurred. So Recca is going to kind of have to deal with that, unfortunately. But 12-3, look, I don't think it's necessarily any better or worse for Recca than 11-4. Both of them are very, very commanding scorelines for B.O.O.T Dreamscape. And so at this point, I'm almost kind of convinced that B.O.O.T's going to close this map out fairly comfortably. The way that they're looking right now on that CT side, they really seem to make everything work. Now, the only concern for me is that when they did move on to their NT half against Tai Lu a couple of days ago, they did sort of struggle a little bit. Winter definitely didn't have the same impact that he did. Nor did Tommy. I think both of them really, really were strong on the CT side, and particularly, again, more so Winter today than Tommy, but I have to hope to see them have sort of a similar impact, maybe not much less of an impact, I suppose, would be a better way of putting it than that on the T side.
And I was also going to argue as well, I mean, comparing Tai Lu and Recca at this stage is kind of comparing apples and pears, really, because...
Well, they're both green.
What kind of apples have you been eating?
Green apples.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about your Granny Smith apples. I'm talking about, you know,
Red
Deliciouses, you know.
I get your point.
Then why did you bring up the green pears, green apples?
Well, because they're both green. At the end of the day, though, look, Recca is not going to really be able to hold a candle to Tai Lu, but it's still something that B.O.O.T, need to be aware of. Like, this is not a bad team. They are able to definitely contest if B.O.O.T sort of takes their foot off the pedal. And that's definitely something that B.O.O.T did do against Tyloo. They had that opportunity to close out maps that, it could have been B.O.O.T. It very easily could have been B.O.O.T here at IEM confirmed as opposed to Tyloo. And it's not the case. So now B.O.O.T, they just want to come along here to ESL Pro League and try and qualify their way through to the actual finals. But I just want to see them make sure that they really consolidate and close this map out instead of taking their foot off the pedal and, slowing down a little bit and giving that opportunity back to Recca, because Recca will take it if they're given it.
I was about to say as well, if B.O.O.T Dreamscape do qualify, I'll make sure I take them out to a place that doesn't do crispy skin rendang. So. Yeah. I mean, over here in Australia, we have it all, but that's a good start from Rozyu. He goes, you don't have the map just yet. We've got the kills, and now Eeyore, he's had enough being bullied around. He's going to find 2 for himself. He's still alive, wants to find the 3rd, but that's Winter. He does manage to find the 3rd, but somehow Splashkey has gotten a few kills on the side. He's picked up 3 as a total, matter of fact, and now a 1 on 2. He's got the USP, but he can't get the shots on both CTs, holding the angle. Well done from Recca to get the pistol round. That is the start of what you need to build the comeback.
Definitely could have been a little bit dangerous, though, for Recca. Splashkey is very, very good with those pistols, and good to see them closing that round out after the good start that Rozyu did give them. B.O.O.T still up quite substantially, so they've gotten the bomb down there. They're going to just eco this round out by the looks of things and buy up in the next round, which is fair enough. They want to get those AKs through. I wouldn't have even been half surprised, though, if B.O.O.T did decide to just go for a bit of a hero buy here. I think Splashkey would have had enough. Oh, no, not quite enough to get armor and an AK. So
he'd get an AK and drop it over to a teammate that gets armor. It looks like it's just going to be a chain into A-bomb site at the moment, so hopefully Sis is able to spot this out and call for the help from Rozyu, but if it doesn't, the bomb plant could go down one more time.
Yeah, however, no utility to get B.O.O.T in, so they're just going to go for the run boost.
A double run boost.
That's pretty interesting. I've not seen that before. It's not going to really work out too well. Sis holding quite strong with the UMP. Only 1 kill does come out there for Recca, and Rozyu should deny this bomb plant. He will. It was close though. It almost went down for B.O.O.T. They made a pretty good chance. Made a pretty good try at that.
Yeah, but good stuff from Sis and Rozyu to deny the bomb plant. So now the buy round's going to come out. And this is kind of going to set, I think, the tone for the rest of the half. If Recca are able to take this, then we could be in for a pretty good competition, in all honesty. I mean, it was a pretty one-sided first half, but it could also very much just go back in Recca's favor as well, just in this half. So.
Yeah, absolutely. If Rozyu can maybe get something happening with that AWP, which he didn't really do in the first half. It's a great shot, though, from Benkai. So maybe we've started counting our chickens a little bit before they hatch there. B.O.O.T have really opened up this round, or really, I should just say Benkai's really opened up this round for
what
Recca.
is that? He's just gone over boost, just one tapped and fallen off, taking 10 damage from an incendiary grenade.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Now Eeyore's going to be mauled out, which means they can get out of position, and Benkai's going to continue. He's just going to keep pushing up. Now Frost Misty at the very least takes down Tommy. So that's something for Recca to work with at the very least. Now 2 actually for Frost Misty. Definitely something to work with.
Impression was looking for the trade there, and Frost Misty does go down low, but still the kill goes the way of Recca. However, B.O.O.T have got too much control of the map. They know that the A-bomb side is more or less open, given the kills that they've been able to achieve. And so they run their way straight in there. Hoop's trying to retake with an MP9. Not so sure that's going to be too fun for him, and he's lost his teammate as well, which means that B.O.O.T's probably going to come away with the round victory here.
Really important for Frost Misty to save right now. If he takes this M4 to the next round, it means he can drop Sis. If he doesn't, it means that it may just be a force buy coming out, which is not really the worst case scenario for Recca at the moment. Worst case scenario is that you have 1,400 in the bank. But I mean, good stuff from both sides. Benkai just exploding out into mid, getting 2 kills, the second one on the back of the Molotov. And then great work from Frost Misty as well. He recognizes, all right, numbers disadvantage. I'm going to bring it back by making an aggressive play at B side. And then the good counterplay from B.O.O.T Dreamscape where they push B, let's go, because there's only going to be one person.
It was a pretty solid round from pretty much all involved, really. Just that B.O.O.T Dreamscape came out a little bit better of it. And that means that they're up to 13 now, 5 for Recca. The money, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's kind of there. So they will be able to get a buy through here, but this is going to need a drop. What's up? How you going?
You get to see my face, and then you get to see Benkai fragging harder. Don't know which one's really better at most times, but
I'd choose your face every day of the week, Kevin.
Love you, Jordan. Is this going to be the number 3
bromance?
Number 3 bromance.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, back into the round.
Okay, so this is actually problematic now, because Rozyu, the way that he's throwing that Molotov or the incendiary grenade is not denying this boost control. And that's problematic because Benkai now knows that. And he goes, these guys can't actually throw the molly boost. Get me up there every single time. I'm going to bully these guys out of mid. And this is seriously problematic because you can see Benkai's still up here and he's just controlling this position. And Rosyu has a chance into an AK-47 shot.
Yeah, which is not really fun for him, particularly when he's got an M4 and Benkai's still got head armor. So there's quite a net of safety for Benkai at this point. The molly does come into sandbags, but there's no one there. So at least that area is now sort of secured for B.O.O.T. They know that they're quite safe into mid, and Benkai's going to start to begin his expedition towards the A bomb site, or just at least into mid. But you have to expect that this is going to look like an A split given where the bomb is, although he's starting to rotate back across.
Oh, Frost Misty playing a really, really poor angle. He's going to get taken out for it as well. Tommy does get traded out by Rosyu, but now Impression just hits on the B bomb site.
Yeah, Rosyu's got a big job to do, but he won't be able to stand up tall and do it. Eeyore was able to get one in the meanwhile, but still a player advantage for B.O.O.T. as they get their way into the B-bomb site. The bomb does go down, and Recca, they have a tough decision here. Do they retake or do they save? Because if they don't take these two guns through, I mean, their money's absolutely shot.
You have to go for this, and without any kit, it means that they have to move really, really fast. Where is this vent player going to come out? Assist, going to drop that smoke for B main, and now flashbang. But Eeyore is not there to come out in the flashbang. Splashkey is not watching the right direction. Was expecting both of them to be coming out at the same time. Now they know that Eeyore's in checkers, and Sis, he's coming in from heaven. The higher ground is not going to work out this time, but the Molotov is good. It's going to push impression off. Eeyore, does he have time? He's got the kit, but he might not have enough time. Has to take the long way around. Oh my goodness.
He doesn't have time, does he?
It would be down to the final second, and he barely gets it. That is a huge clutch coming out from Eeyore as well as Sis. Beautiful Molotov placement.
Yeah, that was very, very nice. And B.O.O.T. just, I guess the problem really with there for them was that the last two players were the ones that were stuck on site. Like, if one of those site players went down and the guy in checkers was still alive, it would have been much, much easier for B.O.O.T. But at the end of the day, Recca make it work, and so they do prolong this just a bit. B.O.O.T. Dreamscape are going to force their way into this round, though. They've got some, you know, subpar weaponry, the Galil, the UMP, a Deagle even only for Winter, but we've seen how dangerous that weapon can be at times. Still a couple of AKs for them as well, and on the other side of the coin, I mean, Recca's bias is not 100% there either. You know, we're lacking some head armor, so the Galil and the UMP can still be put to good work. It's really a bit of a poor round for both teams, actually.
This is really interesting to see what B.O.O.T. are doing at the moment. 3 in Squeaky, 2 in mid, but no one has checked up the boost position just yet, and Eeyore's going to take 3 out. That is huge coming out from Eeyore. He's having great fun at the moment. 2 good rounds coming out from him now.
But look at where Winter's managed to get himself. He's at quad, and it doesn't seem like anyone actually knows that he's there, so that's a little bit surprising. He's going to get a free kill there onto Sis. Still one player in Squeaky, though, that he doesn't know about, or maybe he does. Benkai's going to come around here. This is a really tough duel for Benkai to win. However, Eeyore down to 66 HP, maybe one-shot headshot for Benkai. If he gets lucky, there's no head armor on Eeyore, and the timing is good, so maybe B.O.O.T. can actually pull this one away. And I mean, it's been a really weird round to have a look at, but now B.O.O.T. have got the bomb down, and it's a retake time for Recca with an AWP and an M4.
Yeah, and there's still a few grenades for the T's to work with. Benkai's going to make his way out. Can't stay in Squeaky, but he still is. Frost Misty thinking about either smoking or flashing it off. He's going to smoke it. Winter now popping 2 flashes over. He's going to try and buy time.
Yeah, and he certainly has managed to do that. Recca, you know, just slowing down a little bit. It does allow Benkai actually out. He's going to try and get over to A main, but he won't be able to do that. Now it's all on Winter. The molly does come down, and he tries to take the duel. But Hoops hits the shot, and the defuse is going to come across just in time there for Recca. I mean, if B.O.O.T. would have gotten themselves into some better post plants initially, that could have really been a problem for Recca, but it always sort of felt like B.O.O.T. was trying to reposition, even despite Recca coming in for the retake.
Yeah, it was down to getting some good Molotovs down for B.O.O.T., but Eeyore, this is just great work. Look at that spray transfer onto Impression. Sure, it was pistols. I mean, I think it was a force buy, as a matter of fact.
It was, yeah.
But that's still just amazing spray transfer to make sure that you're utilizing that position to great effect. But now the danger is that that's Recca utilizing their trump card. You can't really use boost the second time to that same effect.
No, certainly not. And B.O.O.T. now have just got the pistols, and so maybe we're going to see something a little bit quicker, a little bit more grouped up over towards the B bomb site. The smoke does come out into main from Recca, but that's going to allow B.O.O.T. to progress a little bit further on. They're going to start to work their way into checkers. Actually, the flashbang just comes out onto the side. Frost Misty absolutely demolished. Hoops is trying to do his best to keep them at bay, but the bomb still has managed to cross, and actually a favorable drop up onto the site there, as Rosyu does get rid of impression. So the bomb at least should be able to go down here for B.O.O.T. Dreamscape. And I mean, the post plant's not too bad. Benkai is going to be in Checkers, Winter Under Heaven, and a player on the side. So it's basically where you want them to be, but only one gun in the hands of B.O.O.T-dream here, and that's Tommy. He's not going to be able to make something happen here, I don't think. 1 versus 4, straight away, taken down by Sis, and really, really good retake from Recca.
Yeah, good work from Hoops as well on the AWP to pick up 3 kills in that round of the B bomb site defense. So Boot, they managed to get the bomb plant down. They have it on the buy, but Recca, they're in a real with a real sniff at the moment. They've got money to work with. They've got, you know, the site defense is working. Now it is up to probably the only flaw I've found so far is that, all right, mid molly, come on, Rosu, you know how to throw this.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Boot have been struggling, definitely, but now they've got another buy through here. They've got everything they could want, bar an AWP, which admittedly, on the T side, I don't know. I mean, I still kind of like the 5 AK setup. So we'll see what Splashy can get done. But again, Benkai's going to go up onto that boost. No molly is out from the CTs just yet. And also, not even anyone in mid. It's actually aggression into A main from the CTs. And EO does get rid of Splashy. A good opener here for Recca.
That's the entire belt of utility lost as well, which is just not a good position you want to be in as B.O.O.T Dreamscape. You've lost your A-man control. You've lost a full set of utility. Impression has already used his to try to get, like, you know, do the progressive B main stuff. So they're just going to have to risk it by trying to retake A main. And they decide not to go there. EO actually is going to get... Wait.
Impression got
Where does Impression get the kill on Hoops from? Okay, I was on B side. Okay, there we are.
Still a player in main as well. That's Eeyore, and he is very, very low.
He's been sprayed down heavily.
Indeed, indeed. So, I mean, maybe Boot does not know that, but certainly still an advantage for them nonetheless.
Frost Mister, you don't want to be looking at the ground at the moment because the T's are going to be coming out of vent. That's your main point of threat. Now he's going to be crunched upon. You can see Impression slowly checking. He sees the gun barrel. He's calling to his teammates right now, and he's spraying through. Frost Misty, he surely can't win this. He won't be able to do so. Now Roseyu, he's going to give up the angle just at the wrong time. He has to dance around, but Tommy's not going to let him dance. He's going to let him die instead.
Well, that's a little bit grim, isn't it, Kevin? But
that's what happened.
At the end of the day, B.O.O.T Dreamscape, they do manage to force their way into that B site. Frost Misty, yeah, I mean, that was a little bit perplexing, but not able to get anything done there in Checkers, and that was really the linchpin really for Boot. If they would have lost a player or two to him, maybe it would have made the job easier for the site players, but now Recca are going to be forced into a pretty difficult call, and it looks like they're going to go for the save, or at least Eeyore is keen to. So he's still trying to make something happen over here towards B. Winter does try and chase him down, and, well, that's not going to really work out too well for him. Still, the round will go the way of Boot.
Yep, and they're 2 rounds closer to bringing up map number 1. Now, Sis still staying here to do damage. That's good damage, because that's 2 guns taken off the 4 surviving Ts.
Yeah, but
small victories.
Is it going to necessarily impact Boot too much? I mean, it could. If this match does still continue to go a few more rounds, but if Boot just win this one, it's pretty much all over because Recca's got no money left in the bank. He will be able to buy, but aside from that, not a whole lot. It's only going to be 3rd round losers bonus as well for Recca, so not really a significant chunk of change going to be coming into their back pockets after this one, assuming they lose. But that's, I think, a big thing to assume. So perhaps let's just wait and see how this round does play out.
And what's really frustrating to see is that Recca, yeah, Rosie doesn't have the economy to kind of get their Incendiary Grenade, but their mid-hold, they had to relinquish this mid-hold so many times. As a result, B.O.O.T Dreamscape are just allowed so many opportunities to kind of take map control. I mean, Rosie spotted out 1, can kind of establish there's at least 2 mid, but what do you do from here? Like, Recca needs to either take control of B or A main. You give up mid, you take control of the extremities, but they're not doing this right now, except for Frost Misty, who's taking control of B main.
Yeah, but he's starting to fall back now as well, so it's not necessarily still going to be in the control of Recca, but they at least have some information off the back of it. In the meanwhile, though, Winter has opened things up for Boot, and the slow progression of the T's up towards the A side is looking quite comfortable for them. Only 1 player there, it's Sis. Frost Misty is still, fairly aggressive, actually, out in B main, and Impression might get caught off guard here if he decides to run around the corner with his pants down.
Yep, and Frost Misty, if he actually charges in right now, I'm not sure if that drop noise may mean a difference, but Impression still gets the better of him, and Sis, he's on the wrong side, but he still dies. And B.O.O.T Dreamscape just going to roll in and get the kills. Yeah,
now really, really bad here for Recca. Like, look at the money that they've got. Yes, like I said, Eeyore can buy here, but no one else is really going to be able to get too much of value. UMP does come out from Sis. There'll be probably CZs across the board for the rest of them. A Deagle, the choice for Hoops. Not that it really matters at this point. B.O.O.T Dreamscape definitely have got the superior buy, and Splashy's gone into an AWP as well. So this really on paper should be 16-8 for B.O.O.T, and I think that's a fairly respectable scoreline if they're able to close things out here. Let's see though, Tommy's going to go aggressively and he's going to spot out one player. There should be a quick trade out here for him, and there is indeed. That's good work from B.O.O.T. They're going to make their way into the side, and everyone from Recca is falling across the board one by one. And B.O.O.T Dreamscape, just good sort of coordination as a team, making that quick play into the B side. They knew what had to be done. They get in there really quickly. Now they essentially have won the map at this point. Rosu 1 versus 4 with only a CZ. Benkai could go down here, but past that, once the position is given away, it's going to be really tough for him. He's found himself an M4, but the smoke comes down. No, it's a grenade.
Look at Benkai. He's got the knife out.
Oh, no.
Oh, the BM knife kill. Rosu, nothing he can do. Benkai just sitting there, waiting like a shark in the water, and he's going to gobble it up. But 16-8. I mean, a few rounds where Recca could have brought it back, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. I think B.O.O.T Dreamscape, obviously, just the stronger team in both halves. Obviously, the 12-3 half after the CT side is a big benefit.
Yeah, definitely a really good performance, I thought, out from B.O.O.T. You know, it sort of petered out a little bit towards the second half. They took their time getting into that T half, but it sort of felt like as soon as they got that one round on the board, once they figured out the recipe to success, which was, I think, just playing a little bit quicker, actually, they did manage to make it work and sort of caught Recca off guard. They were a little bit better in terms of the 1v1 aim duels. The firepower was definitely there for B.O.O.T Dreamscape, so they just had to sort of employ that advantage, and Recca wasn't really quite able to hold on to those crossfires as well as they needed to be. So, I mean, obviously the tough work was done by B.O.O.T Dreamscape in that first half, and then it was just a matter of how long it was going to take for them to close things out in the second, and realistically, it didn't take too long. Like 16-8 is a very, very respectable scoreline for them and puts them in a good spot heading into map 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, the argument for not going full out on your T side as well is that you don't... Like, we talk about how it's going to be 2 best-of-3 series. You don't want to be overly exerting yourself at this particular point in time. And it's important because you want to be bringing your A game. Like, you want to obviously win the series, but then you want to bring your A game for the next series. Definitely. Because that's the qualification match. It's not as if it's like, oh, we won this, we can qualify. I mean, good things to talk about Recca as well. Eeyore obviously having like an amazing CT half. This guy, he had a rough T half, comes into the CT side, makes a lot of impact. You know, Recca were overall on the CT side fragging as a unit.
Definitely. They were a lot better on the CT side than they were on T, but the problem was that they just didn't have enough rounds to play with, you know. If it was something more like a 10-5, even then maybe there was more of a chance for Recca to come back into that. And it certainly looked like they were slowly making their way back into it. And who knows what would have happened if they could have had a couple more rounds to play with. But yeah, like I said, B.O.O.T just got too much in that first half.
And we also got to say that, like, if we exclude the pistol rounds that Recca did win, then you take away those 3 rounds. So in reality, they won 2 buy rounds.
Yeah.
In reality, which it's not that impressive.
Well, it's better than what they got in the first half. So.
Absolutely, but I mean that's worrisome signs, right? Because in your buy rounds where Recca had, had the utility, had the guns to make the impact and do so, they were unable to get the equal amount of rounds that B.O.O.T Dreamscape did. B.O.O.T Dreamscape got 4 of them.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. That's for sure. So across the board, B.O.O.T was definitely the better side there. That's there's no way to beat around the bush there. No. There's no silver lining really for Recca after that one. But I do think that was probably B.O.O.T's map choice. So kind of always expected Cage to go their way. I did say they were pretty good on that map before we went into it, and so the question now remains for me, like, how deep does the map pool go for B.O.O.T Dreamscape? Because what we saw from them yesterday, was it yesterday or a couple of days ago maybe, against Tyloo.
It's all bled into one.
It all feels like one big day this week. But yeah, look, they looked really good on Cage against Tyloo, and then things sort of just fell apart a little bit on some of the other maps.
What map was it? What maps did they fall apart?
Inferno and Cobblestone, I think, were the 2 maps that they ended up playing as second and third. So Inferno was Tyloo's choice. But that was a map that, B.O.O.T almost could have won. They just didn't quite have that a little bit extra. So I'm really interested to see what the next map is going to be here and if it's going to work out for B.O.O.T, because I'm not so sure how deep their map pool really runs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting maybe a Cobblestone pick out of Recca, because I know that they used to play that in the past. So that would actually be a really, really good test at the moment on exactly, how well do... Because what I saw from B.O.O.T Dreamscape that was really good was just their solid fundamental plays. It wasn't anything particularly flashy. I think their CT side would have been a lot rougher if Winter didn't have such amazing rounds, if he didn't clutch out so many rounds for them, because honestly, like, that guy was sitting about either 19 or 20 kills after the CT side, and not just like, when we talk about kills, it wasn't as just he got kills at the sidelines.
They were impactful.
They were impactful. Every single kill, it was either opening it up at mid when the T's had guns, or a clutch kill where he gets 2 kills and instantly turns the clutch situation in their favor again. So
yeah, definitely. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to do that again here in the second map. I think that he's having a good day, and I think across the board it does seem like B.O.O.T is having a good day. So I'm still sort of leaning on that 2-0, to be honest, but, you know, there is a very real possibility that Recca comes back into this one, even despite having, you know, gone down fairly convincingly in map 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Recca have been playing for a very, very long time, so they should have the expertise and experience to get back into this. Well, map number 1 is done for now. We'll be jumping on to map number 2 after the break.